Welcome back, Firestarters, to another episode. I have Jan Touchberry here with us today. I'm so excited for you to meet her, hear her story, and hear what she does. This is somebody that you're going to want to know, and you're going to want to be part of. Well, you're going to want to know how to get in touch with her, guaranteed. You'll find out more in a minute. So I'm going to read your bio just because, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's so fun. And I want people to kind of get a feel. You're like, what did I write? What did I even write in my bio? So she is a Jesus-loving native Texan living in the DFW area. She's wife to John, mom of 4, and LaLa to 3. So you're a grandmother as well.
I am, yeah.
I love that. You're mildly obsessed with Survivor, which I have a confession. I've never watched an episode.
Oh no.
Can we still be friends?
We can still be friends. It's fine.
And you love personality tests, which I do too. And you are a green Enneagram 8. I am a blue gold. I don't know if we're talking about the same colors, but I did a color test as a teacher and I'm like a blue gold and I'm a 3. So achiever doer.
Yep.
I fight against that. And you have a sweet tooth as well. Same here.
I do.
And in 2013, you started your first business and became obsessed with starting businesses and helping others do the same. And this is why y'all are going to want to get connected with her. She's the owner and founder of the Brand Collective, specializing in the Brand Collaborative, specializing in website design, visual branding, and podcast management. But you also do a lot of things outside of that. And in your other life, you're also full-time vocational in vocational ministry and love serving the local church in whatever capacity God chooses to use you. Where do you go to church? Because we're local.
I'm on staff at Christ Fellowship in McKinney.
Okay. So not too far away. I go to Elmont and Van Alstyne and love it. So let's dive into this. You don't get into this day and age. It is all about branding. I know as a success coach, I'm trying to figure out branding myself. And it's not easy. You hear a lot of people say, niche down, find your niche. And it's so scary to do that because you want to be inclusive. And so it's a very, that's a competitive industry. And it's hot right now. Everybody wants to brand. Everybody has a website and they're trying to figure this out. But that's kind of I would think that's a scary thing to jump into because you've got to have competition out there. So I'm just curious how this process started. Like, where were you before you jumped into starting businesses? Maybe you started another business before this one. How did the Lord even draw you this direction?
Sure. That's a great question. And it's loaded.
We love it.
So, like you read my bio, I've been in vocational ministry for over 30 years. And so that really, as I'm a preacher's kid, and so I literally have grown up in the church. And so I really have a deep-seated love for the local church. And I don't know that is, people keep asking, how can you work full-time in a church and run your own business? And don't you want to just quit and focus on your business? I'm like, if the Lord calls me to do that, absolutely I will. But so far he has not. And so working in the church has been amazing. But as most people know, churches don't typically pay the highest salaries. Right. And so I am a huge advocate of people in full-time vocational ministry. And let me be clear, I think we all should be in full-time ministry.
Right. Yes.
Period. Wherever we're at. Right. But if you are working full-time inside the church walls, I think that it is wise stewardship to use the gifts and the abilities that God has given you to also build wealth and stability outside of that. And in 2013, he made me super aware of that need when my husband lost his job. And our income was taken down by half because he made more than me. And I had been blessed in the network marketing industry and I called it my side hustle. I was toying with it, right? I posted some stuff online. That's when you could sell stuff online really easily.
Right. Not so much anymore. I'm feeling
Not so much anymore. No.
Feeling it.
It's changed. Yep. The landscape has changed for sure.
Yes.
But I was making a decent amount and I said, okay, I got to get serious about this. And so the Lord just blessed that. And we, by the grace of God, did not miss one mortgage payment, one bill payment, and we were paying for one of my daughter's weddings at the time.
Wow.
And we were able to still pay all the vendors that we needed to for the wedding. And so that really put that lit a fire inside a part of me that I didn't really know that I had for entrepreneurship. And I've just always been a really curious person. I think I have a unique ability to talk to people and see potential in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's just the way that the Lord made me, and I've used it in ministry for years. But what started happening is I started talking to all these different network marketers, and I'm like, you're great at this. You could do this and add more income in addition to what you're doing in the network marketing space. And you're seeing that a lot today with network marketing. It's, yes, I'm a network marketer,
Yeah.
and so I was just able to look at people and how they were gifted and help them create businesses in addition to what they were already doing, so that multiple streams of income. In Ecclesiastes, it says that it's wise to have 7, even 8 streams of income. And so I love helping people start different streams of income. And so, they say that people are going to ask you a lot about you're the go-to person for certain things that you discern.
Mm-hmm.
And those are probably things that you need to monetize. And for me, it was all surrounding techie things. I was the communications director for a long time. So it's, hey, how do I get myself out there? What does my messaging need to be? And I could look at how they were speaking, and I'm like, nope, you need to tweak this, you need to tweak that. And so that kind of landed me in the branding space.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing VA work. There are people, you're either techie or you're not techie.
Yeah.
I found very few people who are in middle ground. They can do it, but they either like it or they don't like it.
Yes.
And I'm just one of those weird people who really like it. And so I am happy to serve those that fall into the other camp and help them any way that I can, so that they're really free to do what God created them to do,
Mm-hmm.
and not have to worry about the tedious stuff that they feel like they're spinning their wheels on.
Yes. Okay. So there's a few things I want to bounce off on that. And this is serving my audience so well, because the first thing I want to say is I want to put a plug in for network marketing. Network marketing has completely changed. And I think the culture around it has changed in a few ways. You kind of touched on one. I'm going to touch on another. One, I think it's just 100% wise. It usually has a very low investment.
Yep.
You can start your own business for very low investment. And then it also builds skills. You're going to learn leadership skills. You're going to learn business skills. You're going to learn communication skills. So it's just excellent for personal and professional growth. And it brings you another stream of income. I think some people think there's going to be this, hey girl, and pushy. That's changed. That's gone.
Absolutely.
Why? Because the market's flooded. It's every mother is both and. It's not this or that. It's I'm a teacher and I have a side hustle. So it's just so normal. And I think the culture is also changing to where we feel a little bit more relaxed and confident to go ahead and support our friend in their business, because it's not so sneaky anymore. It has to be over. You have to say, when I started with Beachbody 100 years ago. Didn't really do well in that. I've spent more money than I made. But I wasn't sure what I was doing. And it served its purpose. The Lord taught me some things in that. But then I went to Optavia and I created a 6-figure business with that. But it was very different. It was, don't share what you're doing. You want to have a conversation, which a lot of that is just contending for the person you're speaking to, because they'll go research in Google. And if you do that, you're going to find whatever you're looking for, good or bad. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. So I did contend for that conversation, and I would still want to, but now it's like I can be so much more transparent because people are not as resistant to it anymore. They're like, I know she's doing something. Everyone is doing something. Our economy really calls for it. So I say and it's really more about communities too. Find the community that you want to join and be part of, and go ahead and get that extra income. And you don't have to build a 6-figure business like the Lord did for me, but golly, 200 to $500 helps a lot these days. And that,
Oh, heck yeah. Gasoline, groceries for a week.
yes, I mean, so it's definitely, as you said, I think that was so well put. It is just wise. It is very
Mhm.
wise to do that. And so I love that there's not as much resistance to it anymore. Everybody's kind of out. The masks are off. This is what I do. This is what I love. And so there's just this freedom and this ease, I think, more so now than there was maybe even 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Just letting people know this is what I do. I love it. Take part or don't. But it can really set, especially moms up. And we were caught in sort of the same situation too. When the economy crashed, that's what got me into it. The economy crashed and my husband lost his job in '08. And that's what caused me to start looking left and right to find something else. Cause I was an educator. I mean, I think I brought home
Mm.
maybe $1,800 a month back then.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I love that you mentioned that. And then you also went into it was like kind of your gateway drug
It was.
into more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? The same has happened with me. The same has happened to many. I have so many friends who are network marketers. I love to draw near to them because they're my people. They're open and curious. They think out of the box. They're not closed-minded and defensive people typically, and they're always just looking for how can I grow, and you do grow. And so then you learn about yourself, just like you just explained that so beautifully. Everything that you discovered about your giftings, I'm sure network marketing helped you kind of, that started to come to the surface.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, okay, so it is quite a jump though. I know because I'm in the middle of it right now. It is quite a jump to go from this network marketing company, which also a great part of that is it's low investment. The product has already been proven. You have social proof. You have a compensation plan. You have shipping, whatever. It's all done for you. So you
Mhm.
don't have a lot to figure out. You just have to go communicate and share, right? That's really
Yeah.
the biggest skill you start building. But you step away from that and you start your own business. That is different because you have to market yourself. You have to figure out your
Mhm.
brand. You have to find your clients. So how did
Mhm.
you bridge that gap? I mean, what was it all just super easy and it just came together and the Lord provided, or was there a period of struggle and figuring things out? I would love for you to share that.
Sure. I think anybody who says it's easy is not being truthful. I
I agree.
don't think I think you can have easy seasons,
Mm,
but there are also hard seasons. And so I never want to paint anything like it's all rosy because it's not.
mm,
Um, I will say that I think that in many ways, because of my skill set, some of the things were easier because I didn't have to pay somebody to do a lot of the things that other people do because I knew how to do it.
okay.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh,
You know, because I'm techie, I can set up my own tech systems. Because I'm a systems girl, I can see how things work. Because I'm a designer, I can design my own things. And not everybody has that skill set. And that's hard,
mhm.
really hard. But that said, there are still costs associated with any business that you start. And I my best advice is to set aside a portion of what you're making in your net. I'm just going to keep going with the network marketing example, right? So if you have a nest egg in network marketing, you're making some income, you just decide what is appropriate for you to set aside to build your business. And that's the funds that you have every month to work with. And so if it's $25 and you can pay $25 for a good text marketing system, which I'm huge on, by the way, or $25 for your email marketing system. honestly, I would say get a free email marketing system and pay for text marketing.
Oh, really?
If you have to choose. If you're big on Instagram, maybe that $25 is spent automating your responses with ManyChat. So be wise with how you're spending your money, and then figure out what you need to layer on top of that. Okay, so I've got this going and it's starting to generate some income. So I'm going to take another $25 and set it aside. Now I have $50 a month to figure out what I'm going to do. Am I going to hire somebody to design a lead magnet for me? Am I going to have them help me set up my landing page? Whatever it is. And so I think it doesn't have to be hard if you can just be wise with the income that you do have. And if you don't have another income and you're really looking at your family budget, maybe you're going to give up a couple of coffees a month, or I'm not going to buy shoes. Oh, that's painful. But I'm also a shoe girl. But you can figure it out and you can start small. And I love helping people with this stuff. And so I do have free discovery calls, and I'm y'all, you don't have to hire me. If you want to just talk to me for 30 minutes and have me help you look at what you've got available, I'm totally down to do that. It's totally fine. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. And you added so much value there. Just even with the text messaging versus email messaging and where to put your money. That is huge. That is gold, because these are the things that I'm going to say business women. I know men out there too, but women listen to this. Business women are thinking about right now. And things change in the tech world so much, and social media, they change so often.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even the text campaigns are kind of a new thing. And they say, if social media goes away, do you have your email list? You've got to have an email list. That's really important. So those are things that I'm hearing and thinking, I've got to build that. But how and when? And when you're in it, you've got to have the conversations and go out. It's working in your business and then working on your business, right?
Yes,
and balancing that. It's hard. I'm just sitting here thinking, I was a teacher for 21 years. And I'm thinking of all the conversations I had with all my coworkers and how stuck we felt financially. And the cost of living has just gone up tremendously since I taught. And I think about how stuck we were. You can try to save money, you can try to set aside money, but if you're a teacher and you have kids, it's so hard to save. It's a very slow road. So what's the fastest way to have money? It's to have another income.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
And there's so many things that you can do that you don't even have to buy into. So yes, network marketing has usually a very low cost for entry, but you can also, in order to kickstart things, sign up as affiliates for different things that you love and start promoting that way, because there's usually zero entry fee for that. And they'll start, I make $10 a month off of this and $19 a month off of this. And is it a lot? No. But when I'm an affiliate for 6 things and I've got $10 to $17 a month coming in, it adds up.
Yes.
And so then you've got that little, what I personally do is I don't touch my affiliate money from the different systems that I promote to other people. I don't touch that. That literally goes to pay my own subscriptions for things. So basically my subscriptions are a wash. I don't have to pay for my email. I don't have to pay for my text marketing. I have to pay for ManyChat because I've got enough money coming in to cover all of that. And then anything extra goes into the pot for expansion.
That's brilliant. Again, gold. There's so many people who listen to this who are probably writing notes right now. Like, that's
good.
That is smart. Yeah, the affiliate, that's it's not new, but it is in a way, and it's hot.
Well, it's exploding.
That's the right way to put it. It's exploding. But yet I see people hesitate. There's this mindset, this limiting mindset of, I don't want to be the hey girl or my mom's Tupperware lady.
Sure.
But that I want to like get on my soapbox and say, it's not that way anymore. It is only that way if you're the person still thinking that way. But get on board and find a way to earn extra income, whether it's network marketing, affiliate, or even working part-time as a virtual assistant.
Absolutely.
I'm sure, you probably have virtual assistants that work for you.
I
Yes.
do.
Yes. So
Yes.
that could be something, and I know so many teachers specifically who are techie, they're so creative, and they're the most efficient workers you could ever find. They get a lot done fast. They're smart as
Absolutely.
a
Yeah.
whip, and they just go and do. Busy people get things done. But what a great way to use your gifting and skills and earn that extra income for your family so that cheer or volleyball isn't pulling out of live on
Mhm.
money, you know?
Yep. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
when you started this, was there, and I know you may have been in a different season of life. There's some moms who have littles,
Mhm.
some moms who have those seniors, and it seems like that almost takes more time when you have a senior,
Yeah.
right? I hear that all the time, and I'm like, why are you so busy? I don't get it. I'm just not there yet. Um, but were there sacrifices? What did that look like? And what did the support from your family look like when you were bridging that gap and
Mm.
creating this business?
Yeah, when I started, my kids were, um well, I have 4 children, and so they were, I would say the youngest one was probably, gosh, I'm not gonna math on the spot because it's not wise, but, um,
Love it.
I would say she was probably middle school, she was probably early high school. So they were older, but, when they're not driving your mom's taxi service all the time, and all of my children were in multiple
Mhm.
things. So, that's a super busy, gotta go here, gotta go there, gotta get them this, gotta get them this. And so, yeah, it's a hard thing to do. And I was at a conference one time, and I wish I could remember the speaker's name. But one of the things that she said that struck me so much is she said, "You've got to get your family's buy-in, and they need to understand why you're doing what you're doing." And she called it a shareholders meeting.
Ooh,
And so she said, periodically, whatever your rhythm is, once a month, once a week, once every quarter, whatever, get your family together and say, "Look, this is mom's second job, because momming is a job. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it's
yes,
not."
it is.
And so it's the hardest job, I think.
Yes.
And so she would get her family together, husband, kids, and they would have their shareholders meeting, and she would lay out exactly what she would do. Now, this woman is incredibly organized. So she's a time blocking beast. And so she knew that, okay, kids are at school this time, I have this time to work. And in the evenings, she would shut everything off until after everybody went to bed, and then she would work again. And so she would let them know when she was going to be working. And we need to respect, if mom's office door is closed, or the bedroom, or wherever you're officing, if the door's closed, you don't interrupt,
Mhm.
because mom's working. And then as soon as she can, we're going to go do whatever it is that you need to do. And mom knows that you have this, 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 and this. And I'm not going to be late. You're not going to be late. It's going to be good. But then she also, to get their buy-in, they would decide as a group what their reward would be at the end of a specific period of time, especially if it was like Black Friday season in network marketing. Holy cow, you work a lot.
Yes.
And it's hard. And you are constantly online.
Mhm.
And so she would just let them know in advance, "Look, mom's going to be super busy, and I may be on my phone, or I may have my phone nearby during meals, or I may be working at times that I'm not normally working during non-busy seasons. But at the end of this, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go all get dinner out, or, if you're making big bucks, we're all going to go to this trip that we've been
Mhm.
wanting for a really long time." And so everybody was bought in and working toward the same goal. I have another friend who does have littles. I think her oldest is probably 10, and the youngest is probably 4 or 5 at this point. And she does, when she's pushing for a big goal in network marketing, she'll create a star system, that they need this many stars to help mom reach her goal. And she lets the girls put the stars or color in the hearts to show team goal. And this is how far we are toward mom's goal. And then when mom reaches the goal, the shareholders get to party. And I just think finding unique ways of getting your family involved, and y'all don't forget your husbands.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to be working a lot.
Yeah.
So at the end of this, we're going away for the weekend, and I'm paying because I'm the sugar mama.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
That is so good that you said that. Our life group just talked about that. I'm in a season of massive building, and have I haven't neglected my husband. We have a good rhythm because we've been doing this for a while, but
Yeah.
yet I kind of have, like, I've started ramping up, and so the schedule's pushed, there's no margin. And when I time block, I'm a crazy time blocker, everything's color
Mhm.
coded. And I noticed his color wasn't there. There
Aw.
was no
Poor guy.
husband color. And then life group called it out. And then I looked and I'm like, yeah, I've completely, and it's because I
Mm.
haven't done a structural tension chart in a while and looked at, whenever I think whenever you're growing something or building something, it's important. I'm sure you've seen the wheel of life, like you have all
Yeah.
your like
Mhm.
kids, family, business, to look at each one and say, where am I out of calibration? I don't believe in balance. That requires perfection, but calibration.
Right, yes.
And I hadn't done that in a while. And so I had all these business building goals. And it was like, and of course the kids are in there, right? Because I'm a mom and like, you've got to take care of your kids. The husband was just,
Yep.
forgotten. And so that's really good that you said that. I've implemented that with our kids. In fact, we didn't have a family vacation for the first 12 years of our marriage,
Oh,
including
wow.
kids.
Mhm.
12
Mhm.
years of life. That means I had an 11-year-old and he had never gone on a vacation.
Mm.
That's what it was like to have two teacher
Yep.
incomes from the
Yep.
crash to, 2000, whatever it was. And that was one of the first things that my mentorship shared with us was you need to sit down and tell your kids what you're doing because you are teaching
Mhm.
full time and you're probably going to be on your phone, but you're going to have to let them know what you're creating and then let them
Yep.
experience the benefits of it. I love the shareholders calling it the shareholder.
Mhm.
That is brilliant. But
Yeah.
our kids, their very first vacation was Broken Bow. I said, if I hit this goal, we're
Amazing.
going to go to Broken Bow. And we did. And that is when the world shut down. We were in Broken Bow when the world shut down. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
It was insane. But that was our very first family trip. Isn't that sad?
Wow.
But had I not started that, if I had not like put my reservations aside and taken the risk, really
Mhm.
listen to the Holy Spirit and, turn into that, hey girl, we would have never had that experience. In fact, I would still be probably going into the lounge complaining about how we never have money for anything. It's very
Mhm.
much
Yeah.
oscillating on that. So
Yeah.
I love that idea of building together. And I'll tell you what, my 13-year-old son has such an entrepreneurial mind now because I talk to him, he'll be like, what's your goal? What do you need to create? And he sees names on whiteboards and he's like,
Uh-huh.
have you talked to her yet? Where is she at? And he'll push me. He'll be like, you got to
Awesome.
stay consistent on your time blocking, mom. You can't, I mean, he coaches me up. He's a natural coach. And,
That's
but
awesome.
I love that I see that in him because we
Yeah.
made him part of that. So that's a benefit as well when you bring your children
Mhm.
into it. They're so empowered to start thinking
Mhm.
like leaders.
Mhm.
So he actually started a small side business a few years ago around the time of Halloween. He takes all his candy and he bags it and he sells it on the bus.
Okay, my husband back in the day did that. He would go on his way to the bus, he would stop by the grocery store, he would buy gum, and then he would sell it at school, and he made a
Oh,
killing.
Hudson has made a killing. He did
That's
that.
amazing.
He did that with Rubik's cubes. He invested in Rubik's cubes and then sold them for like I think he made like over 100% profit on each one. It was insane. Actually there were a few
That's
times I
awesome.
was like, does that student need to talk to their parent? Like how do they know how
Right.
much money they just spent?
Yeah, yeah,
But that came out of watching me as an entrepreneur. So there's a huge
yeah.
benefit
So good.
there as well. Um,
So good.
I'm curious I believe that the Lord calls us to things in our life in order to pull us towards the fullness of who he created us to be. There's this
Mm,
full version of us. I mean,
mhm.
God's word says that for I know the plans I have for you. Before I knit you in your mother's womb, like he knows our purpose and we're supposed to pursue that. And I mean, with his help, he's our strength. How has this journey, do you think it's pulled you towards that?
Mm.
And do you see evidence of that? And do you think there's further to go? Or are you just like you've reached it, you're doing it?
Oh gosh, no. No. I hope that we can all say that we have never reached it until we reach heaven.
Yeah.
Always growing, always doing new things, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I think you see that in the Bible and the disciples' lives. They were always growing and always doing more.
Mhm.
And so for me, I love my business. I love helping I love the helping people aspect of my business. The job itself can become tedious sometimes, but I love helping people and I love seeing their brand.
Mhm.
I believe that your personal brand is just the digitization of who you are
Mm.
into the online space. It's letting people know in digital world how God created you, who God created you to be, and how he created you to serve. And so I love it when we press launch on a website or push a new brand out into the internet, and people are so proud to show who God has created them to be to everybody. So I love that part of it. But recently God has turned my heart to podcasting.
Mm.
And it's a longer story, so I won't go into whole thing right now. But as a woman in ministry for many years, I felt like my voice was squashed.
Mm.
And well respected and doing great over in the business space, but in this thing that I'd given my life to, my heart to for so many years, I felt like I was treading water a little bit. And then we had my mom died a few years ago, and I just like everything just kind of imploded all at the same time. And I felt like I was sleepwalking a little bit.
Mm.
And then about a year and a half ago, it was, I guess, July 2022. It's a little over that. I had the most vivid dream, and I felt like the Lord said, It's time to wake up. You got to wake up. I've got stuff for you to do. You need to get up. It was so vivid that when I woke up, I texted a friend and I said, the Lord just told me to wake up. I don't know what that means, but it's go time. And so there was searching that took place, and he led me, like, the way that he led me to this. I joined an elite mastermind, and I was scared to death because the money was no joke.
Mm. Yeah, those are an
And
investment.
yeah, it was a serious investment. But he was so clear that it was what I was supposed to do. And it led me along this path. And at the end of last year, I knew that I knew that I knew that I was supposed to start a podcast. And I do a word of the year workshop at the end of every year for the next year. And usually, Enneagram 8, right? My words are always go or discipline or whatever. And so I thought that I had my word for 2024. And but I always go through the workbook with everybody during the workshop, and he completely upended that. And so my word of the year for 2024 was roar.
Ooh.
And I felt like the Lord said, this is part of your waking up. You need to wake up your voice. And so anyway, long story short, the podcast was born. So I started a podcast in January of 2024, and I am passionate about podcasting. And I just a few months ago, I launched a second one with a friend. And I feel like I've had people come back to me and use the word, like, I feel like you are roaring. This is your roar. And it's just kind of awakened something new inside me. And so I don't know where that's leading. I have an idea of what's next, but who knows what God has planned with that. I'm just on the journey with him, and it's super exciting, and I'm just trying to be obedient and roar.
What is the name of your podcast? Both of them.
I have Her Faith at Work is the first one. And then the second one that we just launched is called Untwisting Scripture.
Ooh.
So that one's really biblically focused. It's more of like a mini Bible study in some ways. But the first one, Her Faith at Work, is I felt really passionate about helping women like you with Firestarters to know how to infuse Jesus into their business. They should not be separate, and to be bold in their whatever the sphere is that they're in, and take Jesus there. And so that's Her Faith at Work.
I love that podcast name. It's very good. It's got two meanings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's one, you immediately see it. I absolutely love this. I have chills listening to you. You're not the only woman who has shared a story about waking up recently with me.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to go back and listen to all my podcasts, which nobody has time for that, but quite a few, the Lord has spoken to them and told them to wake up. I am one of those women. 2 years ago, it would have been around, I don't know what month it was when it started.
Please don't tell me it's July, because I'm going to lose my mind.
I don't have the month started, but I mean, I have a journal. I could go back to my journal, but my husband's like the first person, poor guy, that I orally process with.
Yeah, mine too.
And I had all around my house, there were Post-it notes that said "Awaken," and actually, I have one right here. It said "Awaken," and then he gave me like 3 things: rise, occupy, and expand. And I just what he communicated to me though was, it's time for moms to wake up. There's a lot of us asleep spiritually, and you know that our husbands are the leader of the home, but outside of that, like, just put that aside. We know that moms need to wake up and fill their role. They need to rise up, occupy their homes first, and let their faith, just integrate their faith in their home instead of keeping it personal or private, expanding it and occupying their home with Jesus, and then expanding past that. And so, I started another podcast with a friend called Mom Wake Up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as I was listening to you, I was like, I think I know why you put those words and asked me. And it feels so, what's hard about that, and I wonder if you feel this, just from one person to another who the Lord spoke this into, and roar and all of that. It is a hard message because it feels a little judgmental on my end. Like, I'm just coming up to these women and implying that you're asleep and you're not doing what the Lord has called you to do, and you know it, and it's enough is enough. It's time to wake up and occupy your home and do what you know you need to do. And in regards to, I mean, one of the biggest messages is sports. You know, a lot of moms say, oh, we may go to church Wednesday. We may go, I don't know. We have a huge softball tournament, just those types of things. And you lose footing, you lose ground. And so our podcast kind of goes into that. And it's a scary place to go because you never want to offend. But that's what the Lord has put on our hearts to speak. And even I would think in your podcast, calling women to bring Jesus into their work. I don't know. I just would love to know your experience with that, speaking in your podcast, speaking about that. Have you felt hesitation, or have you just roared?
No
hesitation.
But that's the difference between me and every other Enneagram number on the scale. Because I just think, you know, it's like us 8s. You just say it. We're out there. We just say it. It's the, you know, my podcast intro says, I'm your tell it like it is friend. So come on, let's go. And I think some of that has come with, you know, wisdom comes with age. And part of this whole thing, so it was part of the whole thing that God is doing in me when he called me to wake up. I felt so released, and I'm going to use the word commanded by him to do that, that I'll never forget the day I went into my boss's office and I said, look, God has called me to wake up and stop squashing my voice, my own voice. And so I'm going to stop second guessing what I know I'm needing to say in this space. And if that means I'm not a good fit here anymore, I'm not a good fit here anymore, but I have to do this. And he has since come back to me and said, we need your voice. Never stop. And so it actually has turned up on some of my reviews that keep talking, keep pressing, keep pushing. And so I feel like it's only going to feel judgmental to the people who are convicted by it.
Yeah, that's good.
Everybody else, it's going to feel like you're spurring them on to love and good deeds, which is what we're supposed to do as believers, right? And I don't know anybody, any woman who is really honest with herself, who says she can't use a swift kick in the pants every once in a while.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And it's not in every area of your life. Some areas are spot on and flowing, but there's an area or 10 that somebody needs to just say, okay, I see this. And if you're honest, I bet you see it too.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look inside and we're honest with ourselves, we're like, yep, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I needed to hear what you had to say today. And I've never heard anybody go, your podcast was so offensive today. Most of the time I hear, I really needed that today. And I just am such a firm believer that, God uses all things, that he created everything. He used men to create the internet. He used men to create podcast space, and he controls it all. And so before every single podcast, my prayer is, Lord, let this message that you've given me for this day fall on the ears that you need it to fall on.
Mm-hmm.
It's his job to do that, not mine. You asked a question before about finding customers in a saturated market. It's his job to do that, not mine. It's my responsibility to follow his leading. If he tells me to go into this Facebook group or market here or pay for this ad or, connect, which is very hard for me, go to this networking group in person and talk to humans that you don't like to do because you're an introvert. If he tells me to do that, then it's his job to make the connections that need to happen there. I just have to be obedient, open my mouth, and take a step.
That is very wise. I spent 2023 learning that lesson.
Yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn.
It is, especially if you experience success and you're like, look what I can do. And he gives and he takes away.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And then you're like, wait a minute, maybe I didn't do that. Maybe, yes, I was faithful in the action, but the results were always his because he moves hearts, not me. That's very wise. If you could go back and speak to yourself before you started this journey following God in this way in business, what would you say to her?
I probably would have told her to do it earlier.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I will say that I am of the age that when my children were little, the internet did not exist. Yes, that's how old I am. And so I remember feeling desperate because we made the decision that I was going to stay home with my kids and my husband was going to work. And y'all, we were dirt poor. Mm-hmm. And I remember feeling desperate looking through the newspaper. Yes, newspaper. And trying to find something that I could do with my babies to help me pay for diapers or food or, and so I think moms today that find themselves in that situation where they are desperate for some other income because the money doesn't reach the end of the month. You are so blessed to live this day, to live in this time where we have the ability to do that. Do not be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to start because God has something in it for you. If he's stirring you towards it and he has, he's given you if he's giving you the desire to even search for something, he's got something for you. So don't stop until you find it. Press into him and say, show me where I'm supposed to go, and then go after it and go after it hard. Because you never know what's going to happen. You might have 2 podcasts eventually. I don't know.
So much gold, so much wisdom in that. You're absolutely right. If he's calling you to it, he has something in it for you, and it will glorify him. And I found it brings
Absolutely.
goodness to others too. You find, and I'll even say this, I have so many people who, I coach women, and they'll be like, "Well, I have a counselor," and I'm like, "That is different. Your counselor
Oh,
is
absolutely.
helping you look in the past so that you can behave and cope in the present, which is good. We need it. But friend, what I have found is the healing that you're seeking is in the service he's called you to. So you've got to
Mhm.
go out and serve, and that's where you move forward. And that's what a coach does. They help you move forward. So
Yep.
you do need a coach. Um,
Yep.
so that,
Everybody needs a coach, at least one.
yeah, at least one. I have three. That's what and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, I can't believe I have three coaches. Would I get rid of any of them? Is it a waste of money? Is it? No,
Mm-mm.
no, it's the best place to invest your money because they do help you create clarity around God's calling and help you figure out that next right step and get
Yep.
unstuck. Yeah, this was really good today. I hope everybody took notes. I'm sure they did. You started with so much value even from the beginning. So thank you for sharing that today. Okay, I'm going to put it all in the show notes, but where can people find you?
Yeah. So the easiest thing I'm taking a little bit of a foot off the pedal in social media world. As a whole nother podcast. So mostly I'm on Instagram, and honestly, it's only my podcast stuff is on Instagram. But if you really want to connect with me, I have two websites. I have jantouchberry.com. You can find me there, and the brand collaborative.co, co. You can find everything about my business there. And there's even a space that you can grab a bunch of free stuff and sign up for a free 30-minute time with me. That's the easiest way.
That's really good. I can tell that you help people create clarity around their brand. I
I love
I can
doing it.
tell you have a gift there. So,
Thanks.
well, thank you for today. This was so good. I knew it would be. But it was a really great conversation. Thank you for this.
Thanks for having me.